I'm going to change the belt on this GE gas dryer. This one is about 15 to 20 years old. I don't even remember. This is the belt that I have. It's good to have a couple of electric screwdrivers so you don't have to keep changing your bits. My problem with this dryer is not actually the belt, but since I'm gonna take the dryer apart, I might as well just change the belt. I think my blower motor, or rather the blower, is making the noise. The blower gets a lot of lint, and after a while it's going to give you trouble. So I'm going to open it up, and in this particular unit, this is a DDG 7688 MALID. That's the model. This one has 4 screws at the top. Unlike the washers usually have clips. This type, you just unscrew. This is a Torx bit. I think it's a 215. You just unscrew it and you lift up the top. So I'm gonna put the camera on a tripod maybe and try to show you how to change the belt. So you have to disconnect some of the wires to the switches. It's probably better to make a few digital photos so you remember where things are. There's a connector here you have to disconnect to, and then a couple of screws here, one here, and then the whole front panel you can just lift off and set aside. Now when you're working with a dryer or a washing machine, there are tons of these sharp edges, and even when you're changing the belt, you're gonna be cut if you don't wear gloves. And the sharp edges, like I said, are all over. So you have to be very, very careful, and be very careful for that reason, because of the sharp edges. Be careful not to pinch the wires. If you pinch the wires against any of the moving parts, you're gonna have a problem. With some dryers, you can just pull the drum, lift it and pull it out. But with this particular model, you have to take a clip off at the back of the dryer. There's an E-clip. So here's the shaft or the drum, and you have to take off a couple of the washers and the E-clip that is clipped around here before you can take the drum off. Your index finger on one side and your left hand index finger on the other side, and you pull it apart slightly and pull down depending on which direction it is. But be very careful. Like I said, there are many sharp objects here, and you have to remember to bend this grounding contact back when you when you're installing your drums. The best way to put the belt on for a unit that has very tight spaces is to put one hand in here and put your right hand all the way in. So you're using both hands, and you have to do it by feel. Putting the belt on could be a pain in the neck because you're doing it with the drum on, and you have to reach from one side, your left hand, and through the bottom here, the right hand, and then try to thread it over here. You can spread the dry casing a little bit, but not by much because it's spot welded on here. So it's a job for long hands and maybe thin hands. But anyway, the belt, the inside of the belt goes on this pulley here, and you can see then it goes over here like that. Okay, the right hand side goes over the pulley like that. The pulley will be tensioned like that. Okay, so you have to push the pulley with your left hand, and then try to thread it with the other hand. Whichever way you want to do it, it's not going to be easy. Before you do this, you might as well put a little lubrication here, lithium grease or something, so your pulley would be good. Okay, you can clean up whatever mess you have here. A lot of lint. I vacuum up everything, all the lint, so everything is clean. I also put in a couple of slides for the front. This is easy to do. Just unscrew a couple of screws here. This is like a nylon slide. You can put just a tiny little bit of grease here, or maybe you don't even have to do that. It's supposed to just slide pretty well. So it turns out quite a bit of noise is coming from this blower fan, because the motor, maybe the mount has shifted a little bit, so it's moved forward, and the fan is rubbing against the frame here. So I pushed the motor back a little bit and the noise disappeared. If I move the motor forward, then you have the rubbing noise. So I have to try to shift this back a little, maybe unbolt this and move the motor back a little bit. Hopefully that would solve the problem. So reattach whatever wires you disconnected and screw the thing back in, and then let the top, close the top, screw the screws back in, and hopefully that will be it. Okay, it's humming.